Now on Brooklyn News Live, a plane and a fire truck colliding at LaGuardia in New York. The update we're getting in from the National Traffic and Safety Board. We're going to bring you the latest on that. All as we're getting a brand new update from President Donald Trump on the war in Iran. The peace talks, he says, are happening now. We're going to bring you the latest on that. And the growing lines at airports amid the Department of Homeland Security shutdown. Trump and ICE now at airports. What Trump is saying about all of this, and the pictures of ICE officers now at 6 major airports across the United States. Brooklyn News Live starts right now.
It's time for all the news you need and more. Brooklyn News Live starts right now.
And it is so good to be with all of you. I'm Jackson Mitchell on this Monday, March 23rd, 2026. And what a busy start to the week it already is. We want to get to the news, to the stories making headlines right now. And that takes us to this story out of LaGuardia Airport, where we are learning late last night at 11:30 that there was a collision that occurred between an Air Canada Express plane and a fire truck. We now have pictures of that we can show you. This is live video, and you'll see the Air Canada plane there standing up essentially as it was a landing. Have video of it that we're unable to show you right now, but I have seen video of the collision, and you'll see the yellow fire truck in which it collided with there in the distance. So we'll keep our eyes peeled to this, because we are also now expecting a press conference to come at about 2:15. So as soon as we get video into that, which it has not started just yet, I'm checking my feed right now, we will bring that to you. Okay, also, we're getting audio from the air traffic controller who let both the fire truck and the Air Canada plane cross the runway at the same time.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, crossing 4 at Delta.
So there you go, the moments that led up to this. You see the air traffic controller there. Later in that same traffic, he would say, "I messed up," and that he was sorry there. That audio there was from ATTC Net. Okay, again, we do expect a press conference to come very soon, but within the last hour, the Air Canada CEO has just released a statement.
Hello, bonjour. I'm Michael Russo, President and CEO of Air Canada. Today is a very somber day at Air Canada. I'm here to provide information on an accident that occurred involving an Air Canada Express aircraft. The aircraft was operated by Jazz Aviation LP, which operates flights on behalf of Air Canada. First, and most importantly, I want to express our deepest sorrow for everyone affected. Our efforts are focused on the needs of our passengers and crew members, along with their families and loved ones. We know this is a difficult day for everyone, including all of us at Air Canada. We know that there are many questions, but at this early stage, we do not have all the answers, as the circumstances are still being assessed. However, I do want to share the information I have at this time. The event happened at LaGuardia Airport after Air Canada Flight AC-8646, operated by Jazz Aviation, a CRJ 900 aircraft traveling from Montreal to New York, had landed. Flight AC-8646 was carrying 72 passengers and 4 crew members, for a total of 76 people on board. We now know that the captain and the first officer were killed in this accident. We are deeply saddened by the loss of 2 Jazz employees, and our deepest condolences go out to the entire Jazz community and their families. We are working with the authorities to confirm the number of injuries and if there are any other fatalities.
Alrighty there, the Air Canada CEO, and we know that, again, both those pilots were killed during the collision, and dozens of passengers aboard the aircraft were forced to go to the hospital. Some now reportedly have been released. We're going to bring you the latest on this. And we'll have updates for you as we get them. Let's take you back to that live camera that we've been getting in. And again, we will continue to monitor this because, again, we are also expecting, coming up at about 2:15, 3:15 on the East Coast, we expect there to be a press conference from not only Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, but also we expect some NTSB officials to begin speaking as well on all of this, and we hope that there will probably we hope that there is going to be some new information that we learn about this collision, and we will be standing by and bring you that if it happens during this hour of Brooklyn News Live. And continuing our coverage of airports, Trump now announcing late today that ICE will now be present at a number of airports. Take a look at the video. The lines you are seeing, this comes amid now just about a month of the Department of Homeland Security being shut down, meaning many TSA agents are not being paid. That's a look at the airport in Atlanta. The line's growing hours and hours long. People having to stand and wait as a shortage of TSA agents continues. Now, President Donald Trump announcing that ICE will be at airports, 14 U.S. airports. The Trump administration says it will be to assist TSA agents amid the partial government shutdown, amid the DHS shutdown. The deployment announced by President Trump aims to ease long security lines caused by TSA agents working without pay, and with them getting $0 checks. Essentially, there has been a momentous amount of call-ins. So we'll have to see how this goes. We do also have some news about the SAFE Act because the White House now framing the move as a response to the shutdown. It also serves as a pressure tactic on Democrats to pass the SAFE Act. Obviously, the reason the Department of Homeland Security has been shut down is because Democrats have been wanting reforms with immigration and customs enforcement. Here's President Trump on this earlier this morning. Yes, this is him on this earlier this morning on the tarmac for Air Force One.
They'll do great. And if that's not enough, I'll bring in the National Guard. We're not going to have the Democrats destroy our country. These people are the most destructive, sick people, the Democrats. They want, and they're fighting for this. They're fighting for men and women's sports. They're fighting for transgender for everybody. Everybody go out, get your kid a nice operation, and change the sex of your kid. They're fighting for, no, think of it. They don't want you to do voter ID. You walk into a booth. In California, if a person who's doing voting, an official, asks you for identification, they're subject to being arrested. What's wrong with this country? So we're fighting it hard. And I think they should, because the Democrats are being blamed for the shutdown, and it's their fault, and they're getting killed. That's why when I announced yesterday about ICE, the Democrats called. We want to settle. We want to settle. And I told the people, don't settle. Don't settle. Because we have something bigger. Only settle if you get the Save America Act, voter ID, and so important.
So there you go, President Trump talking about all of this, framing it as a Democrat-blamed shutdown, and that is the tactics, the language that you've heard from Republicans throughout the entire shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security, that it was shut down by the Democrats. This all began today because yesterday on State of the Union, which is CNN's Sunday political show, Tom Homan, who is the border czar, announced and kind of confirmed some of the reporting that ICE would actually be going there. And yesterday is when Border Czar Tom Homan said he would be developing a plan for ICE. Now, we've also learned throughout all of this, we're fixing to play that clip for you, but we've also learned through all of this that Tom Homan said it takes 4 months to do the screening process as a TSA agent, but what they can work on is the other parts of TSA. He talks about the, guarding the entrances, guarding the exits, making people are, not being disruptive within the lines and things of that nature. Here is Tom Homan on CNN. This is yesterday.
Posted on Truth Social, quote, if the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they will do security like no one has ever seen before. Now, in a subsequent post, he said that he instructed ICE agents to be ready by Monday. And now the president is saying that you, sir, are going to be in charge. How is that going to work? Are ICE agents going to move into American airports starting tomorrow, Monday?
Yes. And I'm currently working on the plan now of execution, working with the director of ICE and the administrator at TSA, the acting administrator. So we'll put together a plan today and we'll execute tomorrow.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions here. First of all, are ICE agents even remotely trained to handle security at airports?
ICE agents receive a high level of training. And, the ICE agents are assigned at many airports across the country already. They do a lot of criminal investigation on smuggling at airports. But, there's got TSA agents covering exits, people that enter through the exits. Certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit, makes people don't go through those exits, entering the airport through the exits, and that stuff like that relieves that TSA officer to go to screening.
So Tom Homan there on all of this saying that, they're going to be doing they're not fully trained to do the screening portion of all of this, but they will be following kind of doing more basic tasks within all of this. And as promised there in that intro, we do want to bring you, as we have done every day since we were live and this has all began, we will bring you now the latest on the war in Iran as it now encroaches on day 24. And there have been some quite significant developments that we do want to bring you. That starts with Trump announcing on Truth Social. We want to show you this announcement here, announcing on Truth Social that he is, quote, pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East based on the tenor and the tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations. Which will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. He then says, thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So now we're learning Iranian state TV from reporters, which there are not many, but people inside Iran now saying that Iranian state TV is denying all of this, saying that there have been no talks in any way. Want to play President Trump from Air Force One this morning as well on the Iran issue. SOT 5 here.
Today, really, this was a little bit before, set up a couple of weeks ago. This was before we had this situation with Iran take place last night. And by the way, they're just not communicating. When they say, I'm sure they don't mean that. When somebody says, oh, I didn't know you were talking, we were talking last night, and I'm sure they have a lack of communication, which is appropriate considering we blew up, in addition to their Navy, Air Force, every division, their radar. We also blew up all of their anti-aircraft and communications. So they have no telecommunications. So there is a lack of, I would imagine, a lack of coordination.
If you're worried about the miscommunication,
well, we think all we can do is think. Look, we have numerous leader groups. They've all been killed. Very dangerous position. Khomeini was killed. Khomeini's son is unavailable. Nobody knows what happened to him. I can say they haven't seen him there either. Something is going on with him. But regardless, I don't consider him really the leader. But they do have some leaders left because we blew up group number 1, group number 2, a lot of group number 3. But we think we have people that are very representative of the country and will do a good job in representing.
So President Donald Trump there on all of this, saying that kind of they need a better press person. How are we going to say we have had talks when we have had talks? So we'll see if that goes anywhere. Of course, the question among this entire conflict and war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran has been, how long is this going to last? How long is this going to continue? Could these talks and could the Truth Social post from President Trump saying, we're not going to attack any energy infrastructure, be a sign that this all could be coming to an end? We don't quite know the answer to that question, but I think it is a question that you can ask. This morning, stocks continuing to fall. Gas prices, though, kind of continuing to go up. We want to take a look, do what we've also done every day since this conflict has begun, and give you a look at gas prices. This is from AAA, the national average, standing right now at about $3.95. Talking about Arkansas here, we're looking at about $3.39 is the average there. In 1 second, I'll get it on your screen. There's the average right here in Arkansas, $3.39, and in Cricket County, $3.43. So Cricket County kind of seeing the upper portions of that average. I know I filled up my car yesterday again. I know I've been kind of bringing you updates throughout all of this every time I fill up my car, but I believe gas was $3.35, and if you live in Jonesboro, you know what I'm talking about. It was at the Walmart on Parker Road. But I did pass a come and go and saw gas was $3.20 something, so 343 though at the average right here in Cricket County, and that's something we are going to continue to follow. Also, we are watching our camera that we are waiting to begin for that press conference on the plane collision. You see it there on your screen. We are awaiting a press conference to begin with Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. When it does, we will bring you there. We are going to sneak in a quick break. More to come right here on Brooklyn News Live. Alrighty, welcome back into Brooklyn News Live. Again, moments away. We do expect to see Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and some officials begin a brief on that plane collision we brought you to at the top of the hour. And see the live pictures there. We're waiting for that press conference to begin. When it does, we will take you there as soon as we get that feed. Okay, today we were live. I don't even know. It was moments before we ended up coming up about 30 minutes or so, I believe, before we came on the air for 2 p.m. for Brooklyn News Live. President Trump hosting a Safe Task Force roundtable in Memphis. We want to play just a piece of it. It focused mainly on the Trump administration's initiative to lower crime rates throughout the city of Memphis. I want to play one mother and Memphinian, I believe it's what they call them, Memphis resident, who spoke and thanked President Trump during this roundtable. This is moments ago. This is really just 1:30, just right after 1 o'clock earlier. Take a look. Take a listen, I should say.
Honor to be here with you today. Thank you for saving Memphis. My name is Delicia Ballinger, and I'm a lifelong Memphian, and I'm a mother. And I wanted to speak with you today, not just as a citizen, but as a mom who's lived through what Memphis has become. I remember a different Memphis. I remember when the city felt alive, when families didn't have to think twice about safety, when kids could just go outside and just be kids. We had places to go, things to do, and a sense of pride about where we come from. But over the years, that Memphis has faded, and what it was replaced with was fear. Before the Memphis Safe Task Force, I just didn't hear about crime, I lived it. I watched friends and people that I love lose their lives to the senseless violence. I've attended funerals that never should have happened. I've seen families torn apart, mothers grieving, and children growing up without parents, all because of violence that felt like it would never end. And those moments stay with you. They change how you see everything. But nothing's changed me more than becoming a mother. Because now, it wasn't just my life that I was worried about, it was my children. There were days where I wouldn't let them go outside, not because I didn't want them to, but because I was afraid what would happen if I did. And the fear of stray bullets, the sounds of gunshots at night, constantly wondering if they were truly safe. And that fear became real in a way that no mother should ever have to experience. At just 5 years old, I could have lost my son. There was a drive-by shooting, and a random bullet came through my home in that very same space where my son played. And to that day, this bullet hole is still in my wall, a permanent reminder of how close I came to losing everything. My family we are good people. We work hard every day to have everything that we have, only to have it taken away from us. We've experienced multiple burglaries in our home, and it wasn't just the material things that were stolen, it was our sense of security, our peace, our livelihood. And that violence just wasn't inside of our home, it was all around us. Just literally 4 houses down from where I live, a grandmother and her child was shot. I remember what sounded like almost 30 gunshots ring out. Yellow tape covered the street. After that day, those neighbors...
Memphis mother, a Memphis resident, sharing her heartfelt. You can see and hear the emotion. As she kind of thanked President Trump for the Safe Task Force initiative, which she says has stopped crime not only within her neighborhoods, but she said, and she'll say it here in just a few moments, that she hasn't heard gunshots in her neighborhood. We will continue to monitor as the initiative doesn't stop here for Memphis residents, and it will continue. This roundtable was more of an update on an update on where the initiative stands. Alrighty, we are still standing by right now for a press conference on the LaGuardia plane collision. You see both the feeds we've got up for you. We'll bring you it as soon as we get it. We're going to sneak in another quick break. More to come right here on Brooklyn News Live when we return. Welcome back here on the Brooklyn News. Over the weekend, Robert Mueller, the former special counsel who investigated the Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election, was announced that he died at age 81. Mueller concluded back in 2019 that Russia interfered in the election to influence voters towards Trump's campaign. Obviously, that report did not make Mueller like Trump in any way. Here's a picture of Mueller in case you don't remember seeing that face before. I remember I could see the video of him in the what's it, Pentagon? I don't know if it was the Pentagon or the DOJ. I believe it might have been the DOJ, but he was announcing what his findings were within all of this. Again, ultimately concluding back in 2019 that Russia did interfere the election to favor President Trump. President Trump weighing in on all of this in a way that I would say is starking. I don't know that of course, President Trump has often broke the norms when it came to a lot of things, but this one I was like, okay, this is interesting because even when people that he doesn't necessarily like pass away, he usually says something a little more careful. I mean, similar to the civil rights leader Jesse Jackson, who passed away a few weeks ago. It was a little nicer than this. He says, quote, Robert Mueller just died. I'm glad he's dead. He could no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. So, interesting remark, I believe, from the president there on all of this. We are continuing to stand by. We're going to bring you this picture every chance we get. We're standing by for a press conference to come. We expect it to come at any moment on the plane collision out of LaGuardia. So as soon as it does, we're going to bring it to you. We also have another story to bring you. So the New York Times out with some new reporting on Cesar Chavez, excuse me. You may have actually heard about this over the weekend because that's when I actually had heard about all of this. I was catching up on the news, saying what was going on, and I learned about this New York Times report investigation that revealed that Cesar Chavez, who is big in the Latin American world, a labor rights leader, sexually abused and assaulted women and girls. This again, according to the New York Times. And actually, we're going to take a quick pause because right now you are watching it live here. The news as it happens, a press conference on the LaGuardia plane collision. Let's turn the audio up here.
Thank you all for joining us. Just as a housekeeping matter, Secretary Sean Duffy here, along with FAA Administrator Brian Bedford, Port Authority Executive Director Catherine Garcia, Governor Kathy Hochul, and Mayor Mandami, all here with us. Each is going to speak in regard to this press conference. When this is over, we'll take your questions, but just want to give you a caveat. There may be a lot of questions about a lot of issues. We are here to talk about what happened last night at LaGuardia. So if you have other questions, please don't ask them. That's a different press conference for a different time. So moments ago, I had a chance to speak to President Trump after he finished his press conference in Memphis. Also spoke with the Transport Minister of Canada, Stephen McKinnon. And again, our two teams work very closely together. I want to take a moment and just walk through the facts again of what happened. There was a CJR 900 from Montreal here to LaGuardia, operated by Air Canada Express and by Jazz. It collided with a Port Authority fire truck at approximately 11:45 p.m. last night. There were 72 passengers on the plane and 4 crew. Approximately 40 people were sent to the hospital after the crash. Several have also been released. As has been reported, the 2 pilots of the aircraft passed away in the crash last night. I do want to note that we send our deepest condolences to their families as they're going through, no doubt, a grieving process. There were 2 individuals in the fire truck. They too were sent to the hospital after the crash. Now, there's going to be a lot of questions, I know, about what do we know at this time. And what we are going to do is give you the information that we can. We all have the respect for the NTSB. The NTSB goes through a thorough investigation. And we are conscious about the information and the facts that we give you because we want that information to be accurate. There's some information that we hold back that the NTSB has that we allow them to do the investigation, and it takes months, sometimes up to a year, before we get the findings of that investigation. But NTSB is on the ground at the airport. The FAA is on the ground. Over 10 people from the FAA are here. As well as Transport Canada is sending a team to LaGuardia as well. Our 2 countries work very well together. There's a well-worn path where we collaborate together when there's aviation crashes in either of our countries. The administrator and I were at the crash site earlier today, which is easily visible from the airport. And it's incredibly sad. It's troubling. And I just want to let America know that we are working our hearts out to make sure that when people travel, whether by rail or car or by air, that they travel safely. And we put in precautions and policies to make sure that you are safe when you travel. When I was at the crash site, it was just a reminder that when you're traveling by air, you should wear your seatbelt. If you see the videos of the air crash, wear your seatbelt when you're on the airplane. Also, in a car, wear a seatbelt. As you see from last night, they do save lives. I'd also note that as of now, LaGuardia is open. There is a reduced capacity because the aircraft and the fire truck are still in their positions from last night. So we are going to have reduced capacity for some time, but the airport is operational. Again, we'll come back and take your questions, but at this time I want to turn it over to the FAA Administrator, Brian Bedford.
Thank you, Secretary Duffy. Again, I want to extend my deepest sympathies on behalf of the 44,000 men and women of the Federal Aviation Administration. We take our responsibilities quite seriously, managing the safety of the air traffic control system and the national airspace. So we're deeply, deeply moved by the tragedy of last night. Been in contact with the leadership teams of both Air Canada and Air Canada Jazz to express our sympathies, as well as my peer at Transport Canada. And of course, we are a supporting agency in the investigation now. The National Transportation Safety Board is running the investigation. So there are few facts we're going to be able to share with you today. What I can share with you, of course, the weather conditions last night were moderate winds out of 050 at 7 knots. We had broken ceilings at 9,000 feet. Visibility roughly 4 miles in raining conditions, so there was mist and fog here at the LaGuardia Airport last night. We had a situation with United Airlines aircraft that had experienced an aborted takeoff. This is the reason why the fire and rescue crew had been deployed. Of course, the Air Canada flight was arriving on runway 4 when the incident took place at the Delta intersection. Again, I want to extend my sympathies to the families of the two pilots. These were two young men at the start of their careers, so it's an absolute tragedy, that we're sitting here, with their loss. So my heart really goes out to the families for sure. But we are committed to a full, transparent investigation. We will support the NTSB in any way possible. And again, we look forward to being able to take concrete actions to ensure something like this will never happen again. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Catherine Garcia, Executive Director of the Port Authority, and I want to add our voice to those that you've heard before and share our deepest sympathies with the families of the captain and the first officer who passed away last night. The Port Authority takes great pride in being able to work with all of our partners to deliver safety for the flying public. And it has been over 34 years since we had an incident with a death at the airport. As the Secretary said, at approximately 11:40 last night, Air Canada Flight 8646, operated by Jazz Aviation, collided with a Port Authority aircraft rescue and firefighter vehicle on runway 4. The ARP vehicle carried Sergeant Orselio and Officer Baez. Both were taken to New York Presbyterian Hospital. We expect one to be released later this afternoon and the other to be kept overnight for observation. And in accordance with our emergency plan, our mutual aid partners, the Fire Department of New York and the New York Police Department, immediately responded. They transferred over 43 people to the hospital during the evening, though many have been released at this time. At approximately 5:30 this morning, the airport reopened for passengers, and our first flight, a Delta flight, left about a minute after 2 this afternoon. Again, I want to share my deepest sympathies with the families. This could have been an even broader tragedy if everyone had not responded as quickly and effectively as they did. Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to the governor, New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
Thank you, Catherine. While the facts of what happened last night at 11:45 p.m. were well known, yes, it was an aviation disaster, the likes of which we have not seen here in over 3 decades. But it's a deeply human story where 2 young pilots left their homes expecting to return to their families, and they will not. And this is what pains everyone here in the state of New York. I've conveyed our condolences to the Canadian government. I have walked the halls and gone up to Port Authority personnel and police, telling them how grateful we are that they put their lives out there every single day to make sure our traveling public is safe. So to the entire Port Authority and LaGuardia family, I want you to know we are very cognizant of the traumatizing impact this has on you and indeed your own families. So I want to first convey my gratitude to all of you and sympathies to those who have had their lives shattered as a result of this and those who have sustained injuries. It's not what you expect when you get on an airplane. But also, I want to offer the full cooperation of New York State with the investigation. I'm grateful also to Secretary Duffy and Administrator Bedford for coming right here on this day. It's important to have your presence, to know that this will be addressed at the highest levels, and also support from the mayor, who represents many of the people who work here as I do. And Catherine Garcia, up until a short time ago, she was my top state operations officer in charge of every disaster, every crisis that has befallen the state of New York in the last 4 years. So she is a top consummate professional, and I have great confidence in her ability as well. So let me close with this. Let's acknowledge the tremendous stress, particularly in recent days, that our airline workers are under. And as we come through here, know that this is an ecosystem which is not self-sustaining. There are countless individuals who step up every day willing to do the hard work to make sure we're safe. And in my judgment, they all deserve gratitude, not just on this day, but as I often do walking through airports, just saying thank you with a heart full of gratitude for what they do to make our lives safer and better. Thank you. Mayor Zoran Mondami.
Good afternoon. I want to begin by echoing the words that have been shared before me, and also by thanking our partners in city, state, and federal government who are here today. As has been shared, late last night, a Jazz Aviation flight operating on behalf of Air Canada struck a Port Authority aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle on runway 4 at LaGuardia Airport. Both pilots of the aircraft were killed in the crash. And I echo the words of the governor and those who spoke before in sending our deepest condolences to the families and to the many who are mourning their loss. I am grateful for the work of dedicated first responders, including the men and women from the NYPD, the FDNY, and NYSM, who arrived on the scene within minutes, treated injuries, and handled a chaotic scene with incredible professionalism and poise. I also want to commend those who were thrust into a frightening accident and reacted not only with composure, but by extending a hand to the person next to them. Passengers who opened the emergency door and helped one another off the plane. People who kept one another calm. And I know that this crash has shaken New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, whether they are traveling today or simply watching from home, especially since it's the first fatal crash at LaGuardia in more than 30 years. I want New Yorkers to know that the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the cause of this accident, and that we will not rest until the conclusion of that investigation. We have been coordinating closely with our partners across government since late last night, and we will continue to do so. Air Canada has set up a hotline for families and friends of the flight's passengers, and I encourage those who are worried about their loved ones to call. That number is 1-800-961-7099. While LaGuardia was closed since the accident until 2 p.m. today, it has since reopened. I want to thank the many New Yorkers and visitors who had their travel plans impacted for their patience and their understanding, as well as those who work here at LaGuardia and the Port Authority for how they have not only responded to this accident, but the work that they do each and every day. As we continue to learn information, we will share it with you, And in the meantime, let us keep those who died in our thoughts and continue to hope for a quick recovery for those who were injured. Thank you.
So just a couple of additional comments before we take your questions. I just want to make a note that when these incidents happen, you see politics fade away and people work together. And that's why you have people with very different political views coming together, standing together to respond together to an incident like this. Number one. Number two, I know that Jennifer Hamady and the NTSB is going to do a press conference later today with some initial findings that that they'll have with this crash. I want to make another point. You know, I've been asking the Congress for additional money. Many of you have reported that we need more money for air traffic control. We are modernizing our system, but we can't fully modernize it until the Congress gives us additional money. It's not a partisan issue. Both Democrats and Republicans agree, but they have to have the will to finish the funding. I'm not saying that this crash would have been prevented if we had all the equipment deployed, but it's important if we care about air travel safety, we care about having a brand new air traffic control system, the best in the world with the best equipment, virtually all of it developed here in America. Before you ask me a question about our staffing for air traffic controllers, I'll just give you an update on how LaGuardia operates. I'm not going to talk about specifics, but this airport has a target of 37 controllers at LaGuardia. We have 33 controllers employed, certified at LaGuardia, and we have seven actually that are in training. So as our airports go, LaGuardia is a very well-staffed airport. We're a couple controllers short in total, but it is a well-staffed airport. Again, 33 certified controllers that operate out of the tower here at LaGuardia. With that, we are happy to take any of your questions that are specific to what happened last night. Go ahead. Yes, so the question is in regard to what was the staffing in the tower last night, and we have a very good relationship with the NTSB. We have information. We don't put that information out. We allow the NTSB to gather the information, double, triple check it, and it goes into their report. So I'm not going to give the data on that. Again, that's an arrangement we have with the NTSB, letting them actually do their investigation. And so that's not for us to tell you. That'll be for the NTSB at the appropriate time. Well, it's troubling that we had an aircraft hit a fire truck. I mean, that's troubling. Full stop. Go ahead. So the question is, should the truck have stopped? And again, this goes to information that we have, but we give it to the NTSB. They analyze it, and they make the judgment call on what should have happened in regard to air traffic control, trucks, and airplanes. And through that investigation, they then put out a report. So I can't give you specifics on what went wrong. That's for Jennifer Hamady and the NTSB. Yeah. So I told you I'm not going to talk about specifics, but for that question, I'll just tell you that is inaccurate.
I understand that you're wanting more air traffic controllers. I understand you're saying there's not enough funding for that. In the meantime, while you work that out, how do you even convince people to become controllers after seeing what happened last night and after hearing that devastating audio?
So with air traffic controllers, we have surged in our training facility, which is in Oklahoma City. we are putting more controllers through our academy. Now, it does take time to train up as a controller. If you come to a very busy space like N90 in New York or LaGuardia, it's going to take you over a year to train up in a facility like this. So there's some lag time as we get controllers through the academy, and we need them trained up in a facility. As I mentioned, there's 7 controllers. Many of them have a lot of experience in different facilities, but they have to be trained up specifically in this airspace. What I've also done is I have offered bonuses to air traffic controllers who are of the age to retire. I've asked them to not retire, to stay on the job, and we're paying them a 20% bonus just so we can bridge this shortfall. But as airports go, LaGuardia is a well-staffed airport. Even though we do have shortages, I was speaking specifically in regard to the dollars that we need for the technological upgrade. We have, again, this was not tonight, but there's copper wires. We use analog, not digital. There's a whole suite of technological upgrades that we want to make that will make the job of air traffic controlling much easier. And again, it's a separate issue, but I think it underscores the point that the Congress does need to do their job. And there's bipartisan agreement, so they should, in a bipartisan way, come together and figure out a way to give us the rest of the dollars to complete the job. I'll take one more question right here.
But given what you know and what you've been told as the Transportation Secretary, can you confidently tell the public that you are satisfied with staffing levels in that tower capacity?
So it's a great question, and again, you want me to front run the NTSB, and I'm not going to front run the NTSB. We have a great working relationship with them, and we've set this up, and it's the right way. We take a step back, and I don't give you all of the information. I let the NTSB take that information and do their analysis. And I'll just say, oftentimes what we learn is information that we have at the start of an incident like this oftentimes is wrong. And so what we think we know right now, that's why it goes to the NTSB. They pressure test it, they investigate it, and then they come out with a report for all of you. But I did want to clarify, I've heard the rumor that there was only one controller in the tower, and that's not accurate. Listen, I want to thank you all for coming out. Again, we are committed to safety. We are committed to working together to make sure when you fly, you get to your destination.
Alrighty, there, officials briefing the public and the press there on what all happened at this crash. We will bring you what we do know. What we are seeing now in the background is planes beginning to move. You saw that Spirit Airlines jet there, now moving in the distance, according from those that spoke. I believe it was the Port Authority. That's the Port Authority leader that spoke, the director, saying that that this is that the I actually restart my thought here. Sean Duffy is the one who said this, who is the transportation secretary. What he said was that the airport has since been reopened, but we did learn that it was a United flight who had to abort takeoff that ultimately led to that team of fire and rescue being sent out to across the tarmac to where this United aircraft was. And what had essentially occurred was that the aircraft and the fire truck both given a clearance to be on the same tarmac at the same time, ultimately leading to this collision. We do know that one of the members of the fire department, the fire and rescue team, has been released. Another, or is expected to be released, excuse me, and then the other will be kept overnight for overnight observation. 43 of the passengers aboard that Air Canada aircraft have been transferred to the hospital. Some, according to the Port Authority director, again, have already been released. We do want to show you some, this is literally just in, new video showing the moment that the crash occurred. We were just getting it in during that press conference. We have slowed down the video and are going to play it for you here. frame by frame, essentially, so we can show you the moment that this all happened. We want to warn you, some people might find this video disturbing. So it starts off, you can see a number of the flashing lights in the distance, and you see that moving vehicle with the red and blue flashing lights moving across the tarmac. Then the Air Canada plane will stop it here just a second before the plane collides, and poof, there you go, is the moment that this all collided and this all started. And now we are here where we've been watching this live video throughout the day showing where an investigation is ongoing between the two that have collided. The time is now 2:55. Here's what we'll do. I know a lot of days, it literally every day it's something new. We have more breaking news that we have to bring you, and we have to cut things short. So what we're going to do right now is take you to a look at that forecast, starting with a look outside right now and here in Brooklyn. I've stepped outside a few times throughout the day. It has been, I would say, chilly. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was pretty chilly outside when I stepped out earlier. Taking a look at that forecast tonight, we're looking at about an overnight low of 45 degrees. As we go into Tuesday, high of 66, low of 50. Wednesday, I think that's going to be a pretty okay day. It's going to be cloudy. Tuesday, sunny. By Wednesday, high of 77, low of 63. So mostly we're looking at some AM clouds, and then the sun comes out when we get to the afternoon and the late evening hours, of course, as it's now daylight saving time, meaning the sun doesn't go down for quite some time. And actually, as soon as I get off the air here, I'm actually going to be heading outside. So we'll see how everything goes and how it feels. I'll let you know tomorrow what the weather felt. I'll probably say something in my weather forecast. We'll see how it goes. Again, though, tonight's over that low, looking at about 45 degrees. That is going to do it for this Monday edition of Brooklyn News Live. Remember, you can join us right here, same place, same time, each and every weekday at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, guys.